life work
is gonna suck. Get ready to flip burgers now. Oh, so they want to be Jesus. Oh, come on. Nobody's real name is too good. Of course, I might expect that from Iowa State.
Great buildings are constructed of stone, concrete, brick, steel, and other materials in addition to wood.
Sometimes feces or bubblegum will work too.
Part in their construction, however.
Rough carpentry and woodworking.
Carpenters erect the scaffolding, which is an example of rough carpentry and does not require a high degree of accuracy or tool skill.
In other words, you can be rock stupid.
Forms for concrete work is also rough carpentry. For when foundation walls are to be of solid concrete...
Hey, Henry, help me with this piece of wood. It's in my pants. Nah, that's a carpentry joke.
Is used extensively for this purpose.
Meanwhile, you just got 15 splinters in your hand.
The plywood is prepared at the mill by putting together several thin sheets of wood in the dimensions...
You see here with my pencil thingy you do?
Work in building forms out of lumber, although more work has been created for workers in plywood mills.
But that's the American way.
On many smaller buildings, the forms...
Attaboy, Earl. Keep pounding that wood. Make me proud. Oh, yeah.
For the local carpenter.
What, are they preparing Roseanne's grave?
The barn is an example of rough carpentry.
And so are horses, as well as these massive pigs, all constructed out of rough carpentry.
Building a house involves a considerable amount of rough carpentry.
I've been working all alone, now praying for the sweet release of death.
Where extra strength is needed, diagonal braces called bridges.
Bonnie, hold the lumber right so I can do this.
As no attempt is made to get the angle of cut exactly right.
Because why bother with being correct when you can just be close enough?
The rough floor is then laid over the joists, forming what is commonly called the platform or deck.
You can't say deck.
Upon this platform are erected the outside walls.
And you can't say erect. Dude.
Provided for doors and windows. The outside is covered with material called sheathing. This may be wood.
You mean wood?
Of numerous insulating materials, the purpose of which is to keep the house warm in winter and keep the heat out in hot weather.
But that's just a theory. We haven't created air conditioning yet.
As the outside
check out this newfangled invention called a window, George. Pretty neat.
The inside walls, which form the partitions, are erected.
Come on, Larry. Help me get this frame up to get the sex dungeon ready. Jesus Christ, you're slower than frozen molasses in Bismarck in January.
Variation in length may be as much as 1/4 inch without creating any serious difficulty.
That's right. Guesstimate.
When the walls are ready, the roof structure is framed.
Hey, Joe, you ever thought what it might be like to swan dive off one of these bitches?
Rough carpentry, it involves careful measuring and cutting to get a reasonably accurate fit. When the roof covering is completed,
nothing like throwing down some pitch on this bitch. I prefer installing the inside Swedish myself.
After the plastering is finished and properly
Egon
applied,
Spangler, what are you doing there? I thought you'd still be busting ghosts.
requires very careful, accurate work in order that all parts will
That's
fit
why you
exactly.
need someone like Egon to do this shit.
Certain fixtures, such
Ow,
as
ow,
cabinets,
ow, why
used to
do
build
I
the mill.
do this?
Installation on the job requires skill and
Keep
judgment.
banging my thumbs.
Carpenters lay the floor, usually of hardwood, over the rough floor.
You can't say hardwood either.
Doors are made to fit
Oh.
exactly before they are hung.
Teddy
Usually
Roosevelt is
made by
preparing a
machine
door.
And assembled at a woodworking mill.
Yes, this door will look quite spiffy over here.
Cabinets of various kinds and sizes
Aw,
which have been assembled
Larry
in the mill
Fine has a
are
new
grouped
job.
together in the finished house to form any cupboard arrangement
I never
that may be
used any of these
desired.
dang old
In
spangled
former days,
drawers
such
and
cabinets
shit.
were
I always
entirely
did
built by
fine.
Carpenters on the job. Today, the field of cabinet making has been reduced greatly by the substitution of other materials for wood and the use of specialized machines in woodworking mills.
Personally, I blame foreign investments taking away my gerbs. Oh, the place where everybody loses their fingers and toes.
The men in the mills are machine operators rather than woodworkers, although they do use wood.
Work,
A certain degree of skill is
booze,
necessary to operate the
work.
machines, however, and this work provides considerable employment.
Yeah, that looks like wood.
Departments, the work
Come on, Gary, we gotta get hammered. That's a carpenter joke I just cracked there, buddy.
The assembly
Laugh!
usually goes along without difficulty. However,
I
just to
hate
see the very
everything,
size of a piece
including
or
my
cutting of the wood
wife,
due to
damn it.
excessive moisture in the air may cause problems which require
This look like a door to you?
considerable
I
skill
never
solve.
seen one before. I live in a cave.
In the stair building department, special orders, which vary from
Yep,
stock
this is
design,
a special order for
create
Buster
problems
Keaton.
which
He
require
likes to have
ingenuity
special stairs
and
to
some
follow his ass
creativity
on.
on the part of the stair builders. Consequently, this is a very high type of work, and only woodworkers with great skill and long experience are entrusted.
You know, the guys who still have 10 fingers and toes and can read. Oh yeah, I love the electric sander vibrating on my crotch.
In the woodworking field, there are jobs for workers of all degrees of skill. If you prove your ability to take on extra responsibility, you may become a foreman or an
You can
inspector.
tell he's a smart one because he wears the white shirt. It's going the way of the dinosaur.
Although most furniture
Yeah.
is machine-made and large
Keep on making these
quantities,
cabinets.
there is still some employment for well-trained workers in the building of made-to-order furniture.
Good
and
lord, what
cabinets.
happened to his arm?
Shops usually are small in size for quality of
This
product.
thing's
rather
gotta be
than
precise.
quantity as
It's
the
gonna
first
hold the
consideration.
atom bomb.
These craftsmen are generally older and highly skilled men who learn their trade.
You know, they learned with Jesus.
This is still probably the best way to get started and become successful in this trade. The shop work you take in school will also help.
But I highly doubt it.
Fine veneers are used in much of the furniture made in these
This
shops.
is also the same material we used to make
In
George
the middle,
Washington's
the
teeth.
veneer is sliced from logs in thin sheets by great knives and then cut into sections of convenient
And we say the
size.
same thing about children.
In the furniture shop, the veneer is glued to the groundwork or core of
Wait a
solid
minute,
wood.
you glue
The veneer
wood?
is placed in a press where the glue sets and the layers become fastened solidly
Ah, it's
together.
TV's Frank.
Effects of great beauty.
Oh, hey,
are
the Rain
obtained by
Man
using
has a job
veneers,
as a carpenter.
and this work calls for skill and
Definitely
true
gotta
artistry
get this
in
right.
selecting and combining various woods and veneers. Craftsmen such as these are
Yeah, I'm
able to
considered a
perform
craftsman. Look how I
decorations
slapped this paint on and the
finished
stain and it looks
furniture with
really
stain
good,
and
huh?
varnish. Fine furniture making is a fascinating field, but one which is somewhat
Yeah, if you're
limited
bored out of your
because
skull.
The higher cost of skilled handwork reduces the market for such articles.
In other words, you don't have a snowball chance in hell of getting this job. What, are we becoming seamstresses now?
Pattern making is another important branch of woodworking. This wooden pattern of a flywheel, for example, is necessary
Oh,
in forming a hollow
I thought it
mold
was
in
a
sand,
lid for my cookie
into which
jar.
molten
I'm
metal
sorry.
is poured to form this metal casting. Later, the casting is machined and finished, ready for use.
Fancy. In other words, you can evolve wood into
The
metal?
maker of
That's
wooden
cool.
patterns works from a drawing or blueprint which has been supplied him. He uses various woodworking machines.
This
and
seems
hand tools.
very interesting.
His work
What
must
if
be
I...
extremely
Oh, god damn it, my hand!
The fact that the pattern usually is made in 2 or more pieces, so that it can be removed from the sand molds.
Wait a minute, now you're using sand? I thought we were talking about wood!
Inside corners are rounded by means of fillets.
Fillets? Oh, that's a really technical term.
The whole pattern is then shellacked.
Which is what's going to happen to me after I'm done reading
with
this
the
bit
ease
for
with
you.
which sand molds can be made from it. If the wooden pattern is used a great many times, the sand soon destroys the wood.
No!
When many
That
casts are
wood!
needed,
Destroyed by
those patterns are
sand!
cast from the original wooden master pattern and are used by the molders.
You said master.
The pattern, in this case made of metal, is placed in a special container known as a flask. Special
Oh
molding
yeah, I
machines
know all
fill
about
the
flasks,
pattern
buddy.
and press
Just ask my
tightly
buddy
around
Jim
it.
Beam.
The
I
pattern is
still think
carefully
FDR's
removed,
New
and
Deal
the hollow
agreement
space,
sucks.
The exact shape of the pattern is left in the sand. Into this cavity, molten
Oh,
metal
so
is
that's how they
poured,
make your
which may be
fillings.
iron, aluminum,
Neat.
brass, or various alloys. The flask is opened after the metal has cooled and hardened. The sand is removed, and the casting has the shape
Oh,
of
they
the
just made a
original pattern.
toilet seat. Cool.
There are
Ah,
numerous
more
independent
soul-crushing
job shops
work.
which make patterns, in addition to those which are
Okay,
developed
that's
with
just
large
way
companies.
too suggestive for
The
the
independent
short.
shops do a much wider variety
Ah,
of
yeah,
work,
that's where I'm going
although
to
they
store
employ
their
the same
kidneys.
principles
And
and
over here, their
processes.
liver.
Because of the great variety of work, they frequently require a higher degree of skill on the part of their work.
You know, actually being able to count past 21. You have none. Forget it.
The majority of contractors have come up
What?
through the
People are still
carpentry
making
field.
things out of wood? Are you mad?
Cabinet shops and pattern shops are usually masters of their
I
trade.
figured the Manhattan Project
So
would
there's
involve
the
more
possibility
people.
of a business of your own.
Here, follow
Young men
these
are getting
schematics or I'll
started
eat
today
you.
as a
And you
practice
know I'll
group
do
of
it.
Carpenters' helpers. Practice on the job, accompanied by further training in evening or correspondence schools, should
Who the
result
hell
in
is going to
progress
go
in
to
interesting
night school after
occupations.
working all day in
Success
carpentry?
in this field, as in all others, requires hard work and study.
Just to be fired next
If you're
week.
interested in any phase of woodworking, Investigate it thoroughly.
Oh man, they
and
just
learn
allow
the
anybody. This kid
basic
looks like
tool
12 years
processes
old.
As taught in your school woodworking shop. It is
What,
the
they keep you in
use
the
of which
dungeon?
tools that counts, and this
Sounds like a
requires
great
training of the mind.
classroom. Yep, this is
Learn
wood.
to read and interpret drawings, the language of construction, and develop
A,
your ability in mathematics.
B.
The sciences you study in school. will
I
help
don't
you
think a
develop.
sunken chest is going to help you do anything in
Spend
carpentry,
as
buddy.
much time as possible in your own woodworking shop at home.
In fact,
Use
lose
your
a
spending
thumb
money
before
to
you
build a set of
graduate.
Tools and to buy material with which to work. If you can make woodworking a successful hobby, you have a good chance to make it a successful occupation.
But don't bet on it. In fact, you're probably doomed. Who the hell taught you to make that birdhouse? You suck, eraserhead.